We're not putting that in the podcast.
We're not?
No.
Why not? Why not? That's funny.
Don't act like you're starting the podcast now, so we have to put that in there.
We're starting the podcast.
Now we are.
No.
We're just going to start with that. Instead of your gross noises.
I see.
Yeah.
I have to excuse myself because I'm still coughing a little bit.
But not as much.
Not as much, but it's still there. So sorry if you hear that because we don't care or bother to edit it out. And also, my mic has no like pop filter on it right now. So you hear me breathing sometimes.
I mean, you hear me breathing too sometimes.
Yeah, but you don't hear the wind like that. Yeah, if you really blow on it, but you don't do that.
That was really light.
Doesn't matter. So, I ordered already one.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and it should come tomorrow. So the next time you hear us will be better.
You'll be better. I'm already perfect.
That's my life. We're back.
Your perfect wife is your life? It's nice.
Oh man, you're so full of it.
Yeah.
We're back with another episode
of
Translating
Love.
With me.
Those 2 words.
With
me.
Woifi.
And
Dani.
No, you could have said me, Dani. That totally would have worked.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're back. Thanks,
we are
everybody.
Back.
Huh?
I just agreed with you. We're back.
Yeah, we're back. Thanks, everybody, for listening, for sending us messages, even though we are sometimes really bad with replying, but we always do. You can hit us on Instagram at Translating Love Podcast, and also our website translatinglove.com, and email. That's translatinglovepodcast@gmail.com. Right. Other than that...
That was Gmail, not she-mail.
Gmail.
Just so you know.
Not she-mail.
Don't get confused.
That's different. Yeah. Yeah, that's my life right now.
A lot of things are your life right now.
Yeah. What are we talking about today?
We're talking, I don't know, just talking about how we're both doing in...
Ranting.
Yeah, kind of ranting. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's ranting.
You wouldn't say?
No.
Oh, I see. I would say it's ranting.
Maybe.
Renting out a house. No, in all seriousness, we thought we use this time today, and also thank you for sharing your time with us. We appreciate that, obviously. But we thought today we were talking about how we are doing, what's going on, and shit.
Yep. Your phone is on vibrate, by the way.
I
Maybe
should
turn that off.
Yep. I should ask you now. So how are you doing?
You know, I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm not great.
Why?
Just because we're 2 years almost into this pandemic.
Yep.
And
2 years.
I'm so tired of certain kinds of people.
Yep, I agree.
Where, I don't know, I recently had an experience at work that I kind of fucked with my head, honestly. And I can't stop thinking about it. And
I mean, you can talk about it. Someone died because of COVID.
Yeah. So basically a patient of mine, we'll call her Jay. Jay is about 74.
Yeah, we don't have to go into details. She's older woman.
She's older, but her sister is much older. She's 84. And her sister, both of them come to me for massage, and her sister has dementia. And so basically most of the time she can only answer yes or no questions. Can't really have a conversation. It's pretty far along. And she last week tested positive for COVID, as did her sister.
And her husband.
And the sister, doesn't matter. The older woman with dementia, her husband also got diagnosed.
That story is so complicated.
It's really hard to, if you don't use names.
You have a patient, an older patient. She has dementia, and her husband and she both tested positive, and her husband died.
Yeah.
And she obviously doesn't know and understand that he's gone because...
I mean, she does.
Yeah, but only in certain moments. But she's still... I mean, she has dementia, so he's not fully there.
Yeah.
So it's hard for her.
The reason I talked about her sister, though, is because that's like the only person she has.
Yeah.
And because they're both positive, they're both in quarantine in their respective houses. Yeah, until the 18th.
Oh, okay.
And she can't go see her sister, who is confused and mourning. And it's all because of irresponsible people and their other family who basically told them they shouldn't get vaccinated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or the nurses that care for them told them not to. One of the two.
Yep.
So I don't know. It just makes me frustrated. Because I don't know. I just feel like it's irresponsible at this point. And people are dying because of it that don't need to die.
Yeah, but let's not talk about COVID anymore because nobody cares. But obviously you read about things like this, you hear things about this, you see like directly how people are impacted by that, and that does things with you, obviously. And it's been 2 years, and you would think people, would finally understand that it's not all about them and how they feel about certain things, but it's about all of us. And their actions are actively messing with our society and with people around us, not like directly, but sometimes over 3-4 people. And people are still dying, and people are getting more and more vaccinated. Infected, sorry. And yeah.
And honestly, at this point, if you don't trust the vaccine, then you have some other problems, I have to say.
Yeah.
It's been tested long enough that I think, just do it. At this point, you're just being stubborn, in my opinion. It's basically, I feel like all these people who refuse to get vaccinated now are just like being stubborn and not wanting to change their mind because they don't want to be questioned about changing their mind.
The thing is, I don't care about those people. I don't give a shit. I care about, the collective, that we can get back to a semi-normal world where we can actively work on issues that are much bigger than the fucking pandemic. Speaking of climate change and tackling that in a, better way.
But I also think saying I don't care about those people is exactly part of the problem. Not the problem that people are being irresponsible, but the problem that I'm specifically struggling with, where it's like we're losing our sympathy, we're losing our empathy, we're not connecting with people, we're losing, like, I don't know. It's hard for me to say I don't care about certain people because blah.
I understand what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from. But at the same time, and I read some interesting article about that issue, if you're trying to argue or talk to someone who is so manifested in their idea of how this whole thing works right now, so far away from any scientific facts and numbers, like it's all about numbers, it's all about statistics, it's all about math. And if they're so far away from that, and if they don't want to meet you halfway as you do in a normal conversation between two people who have different opinions, and I'm speaking of opinions, I'm not speaking different facts or something, then there is no way of even talking to them. And at this point, there is not even a way of acknowledging them because they don't do anything. The only thing they do is they pull against the other majority, I have to say. They pull against the majority because the majority is getting vaccinated in every country. Over almost 7 billion people got vaccinated. And the truth is that the vaccination is obviously helping us. And that it's only part of the solution, but it's a massive part of the solution.
Yeah,
especially
look at all
in
of
terms
these
of saving
things
people.
We don't have anymore because of vaccines.
Right.
And I don't know.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. I don't care about those people anymore because you can't talk to them. And they're so, again, manifested in their ways, and something has significantly either impact in their life or change in their life to see what they're doing. And I think it's also a problem that can't be solved for some people.
Yeah. I mean, this is what's also an issue for me, is because a lot of these same people who didn't want to get vaccinated from the start, now in Austria, we have this rule where if you want to go to like the movie theater or the hair salon or, restaurants, that you have to either be vaccinated or have had COVID in the last 6 months. So testing negative no longer allows you in places if you're not vaccinated. And we're seeing more and more people get vaccinated, and their reason is, because I want to go get my hair cut. And it's like, it proves how the stupidity and the stubbornness of people, because it has nothing to do with the vaccine. It has everything to do with them saying, I'm responsible for my life and the government can't tell me what to do.
I agree. But at the same time, does it matter? No. Because you can their reasoning anyways. But if they get vaccinated, at least celebrate them and say, hey, finally doing something not only for you. You're basically looking out for other people. And that's something to be proud of, and that's something to be celebrated for.
I honestly wish the internet wasn't a thing. Like, I'm getting to the point where I don't even check like social media anymore. I don't, because I'm just done. And I wish that the internet would just be done, at least for what we've been using it for the last 10 years. I'm just done with it. Yeah.
It's sad that social media became this
platform for,
I would say, shithole for people who are living in their bubble and spreading misinformation and trying to purposefully destroy institutions that were like solid.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about people who get canceled for no reason, other than that they're maybe saying something that they didn't mean or were joking or whatever, But at the same time, also things like vaccination and conspiracy theories that get like thrown in there, and then people just dig them because they understand them, and they present the solution to them that they understand.
Yeah. I feel like if the internet were just like, if everything were just kind of changed to the point where, unless you're an expert in a topic, you get flagged if you try to post something that's not true. Because that's such a huge problem, is the misinformation and the sharing of opinion, basing them as fact. And then depending on how many followers you have, people believe that, they repost it, they share it, and it's this constant domino effect of misinformation. And I feel like that shouldn't be allowed. There are rules and guidelines in place, and there should be more in place for things like that, where it gets taken down.
People don't understand how to use social media, and people seemingly don't understand the difference between a fact and an opinion, and that's one of the biggest issues. A fact is something that is scientifically proven until proven wrong. Scientifically. So meaning we can say it's a fact that the earth is round. The Earth is a globe. We can say it's a fact because it's been scientifically proven. But
all of those images were faked, Wolfgang.
as an opinion, I can say, no, I believe that the Earth is flat. But that's an opinion. That's not a fact.
Yeah.
And that goes with everything. I can say sugar is healthy. That's an opinion. But it's been scientifically proven that it's bad for you, at least in a certain amount of number. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't understand that anymore. People don't
They
understand
also don't
that.
understand what research is, because every second person says
yeah.
I researched this and
I've been doing my own research.
Yeah,
What does
that's
that
not
even mean?
research.
Yeah.
You Googled it and you clicked the first few links that agreed with the opinion that you already have.
If even. I'm like, I've looked at some TikTok doctors and they said that.
Some people just throw in, I read an article.
Yeah.
Like, that's a thing, even though they didn't. But that's exactly the problem with all of this misinformation, and it's just allowed to be posted without any fact behind it. And I get, freedom of speech, blah, blah, blah. But quite honestly, even freedom of speech, I feel like there's an extent in terms of if you have a significant following of people that you can turn on to your opinion and make them believe it's fact. I think that's dangerous.
Yep. People who have a certain amount of followers have a huge responsibility because they're part of the educational system if they're younger. They influence people, obviously, and that can go wrong, like pretty bad. And I'm not talking about people who are stupid, who will believe everything they see. I'm talking about also smart people who follow people and they hear something and they're like, oh, yeah, I've never heard that, but it must be true because that person says that. Even though if you Google simple things, you see, oh, it's not true. And then again, there comes the factor of opinion in it. If I don't want something to believe to be true, I can have an opinion about it. But if it's proven scientifically right, then it's true.
Yeah.
Or the other way, it's wrong.
The thing is, we've always had this problem. Since before we were around, we've had this problem. But,
obviously.
there are in old newspapers and stuff, you can find like diet culture advertisements where it's like, take this pill once a day and you'll be skinny in a week. And it's just like, it's a ton of misinformation. But to the extent that we have it today, where it's, sure, diet culture can be very dangerous and unhealthy and harmful, but when it's to this level of like medicine and things that can prevent pandemics from happening, I feel like nothing is off limits, and I think that there's something wrong with that.
I mean, again, it's about giving those people a platform to gather and to grow and to suck more people into their realm of things. And I'm not speaking only of Facebook, but I'm also speaking of Telegram and WhatsApp groups and all that shit where they gather in the thousands and spread misinformation and say like, oh yeah, I heard of this person, blah, blah, blah.
But I feel like the thing is, I don't think there's anything wrong with chat groups and whatever. That's always been a thing.
No, it's
and
dangerous.
Social media in general. But it's more about the access to these, quote, articles that people find and in misinformation that they can share within those groups. There's an unbelievable amount of content out there that's just like, this is fine.
That's what I mean. It's an echo chamber. You throw something in, you get the same thing or something worse back that basically proves your belief. If it's wrong or right, doesn't matter. It just says exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it proves your belief. I know what you mean, though.
No, but
it backs up what you're already thinking.
Right. You get the same thing back.
So you don't need any fact behind it. It's just,
no.
Here's a written article, and it's exactly what I already think. Therefore, it must be true.
Not even that. No, it's a picture of a written article. Like
it's the headline.
Or just the headline, yeah. Or a YouTube video of some guy who has no scientific background talking about issues or problems that he has no idea, only an opinion about.
Yeah. And I think just this has been happening for a while, and I've already had issues with things like this for a while. But I think with COVID and everything, it made it so much more extreme. And
I think it just highlighted a problem that we already had.
no, sure, but that's what I mean. But it took it to a new level. It's more extreme, I feel like, because of COVID than it was before. It was always a problem before.
Because it all impacted us. But I remember...
And it got politicized.
Yeah. But I remember in 2015, there was a measles outbreak in Germany. And there was like this whole debate of people getting vaccinated, and this whole like group of people who said, no, I'm not getting my kids vaccinated. And that was already a problem starting in 2015, but there was a massive problem already in a small realm, but obviously not a lot of people were affected by that. But now the whole world is affected, and obviously everyone has to have an opinion and be right about that.
Mm-hmm. That's another problem. Why does everybody have to be right all the time? There's nothing wrong with being wrong. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It
does a little bit.
By being able to admit that you're wrong about something actually shows that you're an intelligent human being. Because you're willing to see another side, you're willing to look at fact and say, oh, okay, maybe like actually have some thought behind your reasonings and maybe question your reasonings for why you believe something. And I think that there's nothing wrong with being wrong. By admitting it, you show you're an intelligent human being.
I think also talking to someone else who has a different opinion is also good, because you hear someone out and you maybe are exposed to different opinions, which is good because it makes you grow. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I think in the end, we have to remind ourselves that we all want the same. We all want to live in peace, to have a planet, hopefully, that gives us all the things we need and all the things that our grandchildren need, and that, we have a nice, healthy, peaceful life. But we let those issues come in between and make them about so much more. Mm-hmm. And that's what's hard, because you hear those people scream things and tell you things, and you're like, how is it possible that a intelligent person like you can get sucked so into an issue and not realize what they're saying, what they're doing, and how many people they're hurting by that. I don't know. But I think we should. I want to say something else. Oh, but I think a big issue of the whole situation is also how people have to deal with a lot of issues right now besides the pandemic, because it like if you look at the numbers, a lot of people are dealing with depression and anxiety, and for the first time panic attacks and stuff like that. That all caused, or some of it caused, by a pandemic. If you already had underlying problems, the pandemic obviously could be a reason to bring them a little in the light, and trigger them. And I think that's also a massive problem, because if you talk to people, a lot of people feel similar. They don't like to live in a situation like this. They fear losing someone, maybe getting sick, maybe even the fear of like being vaccinated, because you have a fear of vaccines, which is fine. There's nothing wrong about that, obviously. And I think that's also something we have to more address and talk about more, because in a time like this, it's not okay to be okay all the time. It's okay to not to be okay all the time. That's what I want to say. And the thing is, I know of 3 people who had severe anxiety this past year, and one of them the first time, and it's hard to see people you like going through that only because of this issue and not knowing where to find help.
Yeah, I agree. I also know a lot of people who are struggling with anxiety for the first time, or realizing now, because it's so extreme, the anxiety, realizing now for the first time that they've had anxiety for so long and never had a way to label it.
Yep.
And I don't know. I know it sounds kind of like hippie, I guess, if you want to call it that, but I constantly think to myself, why can't we all just support each other and love each other and try to do what's best for not just ourselves, but humanity in general?
Yeah.
And I don't know where all of this selfishness came from, and greed, and I don't know. It makes me really sad.
It's been always there.
But I feel like it's so much more extreme.
Yeah, I think so too.
And it just makes me sad. I don't know why we can't just all do mushrooms and...
Yeah. One thing I can say for sure is that the majority is not the problem in terms of screaming into Facebook and Instagram and posting shit and trying to...
But it's still all you see.
It's all you see because it's all people do in that realm of things where they have to either too much time and they have to prove their opinion to be right and denounce everything else to read that doesn't go with their opinion. But the majority is not that. And I think being away from social media, taking you out of that, like taking yourself out of that, can help you significantly in seeing that people are not that. Some, yeah, but the majority is not. The majority is nice, kind, and friendly. And those lost souls on Instagram are just people who are either hurt or misunderstood or severely bored assholes, or just severely mentally ill. And that's the outlet, which is super sad, especially if people who can't do anything or who are not even involved in it get hurt by it.
Yeah.
Which we see around us all the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to add something else?
The only thing I want to add is if you are not vaccinated, I highly encourage you to get vaccinated and to talk to, I don't know, your general practitioner or someone who's at least in the medical field and not just your Aunt Susan who has a friend who, whatever, had a bad reaction or whatever.
I have to disagree. Talk to someone who really knows something about it.
Because I know. Sure, that's the ideal situation, but not everybody knows somebody like that.
But then if you can't, you can tweet at people. You can also read articles from people who know things about it, or even watch videos about, like, videos from newspapers where people like that get interviewed and watch
videos of, if you are scared or have some anxiety just about vaccines in general, especially new ones, just look up how a vaccine works. There are tons of really interesting videos, like on YouTube even, really interesting videos just very simply explaining how a vaccine works, what it's doing in your body, and how long it stays there.
Yeah.
And it's super informative, and I don't know. I really do believe that it's our duty, just as I feel like it's our duty to vote.
Yeah.
I believe it is our duty to protect our fellow human beings, to keep, keep humanity from completely dying out. We have all these other problems to deal with, like climate change. And this thing that we're dealing with right now should not be as big as it is.
Yeah, I agree.
And you can be part of the solution by just getting yourself vaccinated.
I think just simply understanding the difference between facts and opinion can help you a lot of differentiate of certain things online. Yeah. But other than that, I think our rant is over.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Next week we have a more positive episode again.
Or do we?
Yeah, we will. We'll talk about dying and death and horrible things. Yeah. Please consider subscribing and hit us up on our Instagram. And other than that, we're done.
Indeed.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.